The average person uses less than 10% of what PowerPoint can do. Copilot unlocks the other 90%.
While AI itself will not take your job, the person using AI, unlocking the other 90%, will take your job. I'm really excited to explore together with you why this is happening now and what are the implications to your job through that. So let's dive right in. Why is this happening now is because we've hit this magical triangle with AI and generative AI where it's better, cheaper, and faster. We made available the cognitive intelligence of everybody through natural language interfaces and make it available for free or for a very minimal cost. Let's dive into each one of them and unpack what it actually means. First of all, what is making it better? It helps us do our own work better. It's going to be the Copilot that you can use existing apps and use them for the fullest potential. We talked about Microsoft, that obviously doesn't extend just to PowerPoint and unlocking the 90% that most people don't use in the app through animations and generating text and different effects, but it also extends to all the other tools or analyzing data in Excel and sending Outlook messages and Teams messages or any other Google Suite products you might be using. Here's the vision that Microsoft has put forward that they're launching now.
Introducing Microsoft 365 Copilot, your Copilot for work. Copilot combines the power of large language models with your data in the Microsoft Graph and the Microsoft 365 apps to turn your words into the most powerful productivity tool on the planet.
Is coming to life in the products millions of people use and rely on every day. Let's see how Copilot can use your customer notes in OneNote as well as another internal document. Copilot quickly creates a first draft. You can turn your Word document into a PowerPoint presentation that you can hone and polish. Let's jump into Copilot in Excel. You start by asking Copilot to analyze the data and give you 3 key trends. Within seconds, you've got what you need. Triage your inbox, highlighting the most important emails to prioritize. You can draft a reply using data from an Excel file, and Copilot will generate a reply for you.
And this doesn't extend just to productivity at work. Even, for example, oven, that most people only use 2 or 3 functions at their house, with something like a smart oven made by June, it automatically recognizes the food, tracks the temperature, and uses all the 12 programs to cook for perfection. Let's notch it up a bit from Copilot. It also then helps you get more done by introducing you to new tools through natural language interface. So tools that you might have no idea how to use or tasks that you have no idea how to complete, you'll be able to do them now. Here's an example for filmmaking and visual effects.
And what if bringing those stories to life wasn't limited by our resources, but only by our imagination? Welcome to Wonder Studio, where making movies with CGI is as simple as selecting your actor and assigning a character. The system uses AI to track the actor's performance across cuts and automatically animates, lights, and composes the CG character directly into the scene.
Some people say, I'm not a good writer to write that blog post for the company or come up with an ad copy or write your first YouTube video description. And there's a tool for that as well.
Jasper is here to help. It's an app that uses AI to help you create any kind of content you need. It's like having your very own robot sidekick with an infinite supply of ideas. And that's why the perfect pair of socks is like a hug for your feet.
Hot damn, that's good.
Apps that are really intimidating today. For example, editing video in Premiere Pro. Just the interface itself has so many buttons and the learning curve is really steep. Even Adobe is launching now a natural language editing suite where you can just delete text and edit text, and that just automatically edits the video for you. This makes a lot of those interfaces and applications much more accessible. So not just doing the existing stuff better, but also enabling and opening up completely new applications. For example, Roblox has announced that everybody who's using Roblox can now become a game designer. When previously it required you to know how to write code, now you can just describe in natural language, like make the car metallic, make it red, turn the lights on, turn the lights off, make the car fly, make it rain outside, and all of those things make it accessible to so many more people. But what if we take it up even further, moving away from not just learning new apps and how to use them for your own benefit, but also moving on to completely autonomous agent that allow you to really make absolutely anything without knowing any tools that you use today or learning any new tools in the future. Previously, we had these generative AI tools where we give it a prompt and it gives us a response back. And even with those tools, using ChatGPT-4, it was able to get into the top 10th percentile in almost every subject that they were measured against. And now this is getting a completely new revamp. We're building autonomous agents. So rather than just giving a prompt, we give it an objective. It observes the objective, comes up with a planning list of what are the tasks that need to be accomplished. Then it builds an action. It can actually go out and do the action for you, whether it's doing a Google search or downloading an app or comparing on different sites. It will then reflect, did I actually achieve that task or the result, and then go back in the loop. The magical thing is it's not just one agent. That agent is able to recruit and train other agents. So if I just give it an objective, it can go out and task the Google search agent to do its work. It can go and task Premiere Pro agent to start editing the movie. And it can go and task a GitHub agent to start writing code for me. An example of that was developed by auto-gpt that was just in the beginning of April launched and captured the world by storm, and also followed by the baby AGI. One of the examples there is a tool, Cognizant, that was built for market research example. So here we're trying to do market research to find out the top 5 sneaker brands in the world. What the model does is automatically breaks it down to 3 key tasks. Number 1, identify the 5 based on the share and popularity. Then analyze the reviews and identify the top 5 brands. Then compare the price range, target audience, and ratings across those brands. And then compile the full list of the 5 most popular shoe brands. This is what a human can do. And rather than you writing the prompt is generated by itself, the agents are deployed, and the result is driven back to you. And there's many other tools besides Cognizant that I just showed you, like auto-gpt or God Mode that you can go and check out, and many of the code repositories on GitHub. Some of the examples what people are building without those autonomous agents is different websites. By just giving it a task, it builds the back end, front end, and it's actually usable because it can create that loop and do it until it works out what needs to be resolved. Or building a sample task list that then goes out and triggers actions on GitHub or triggers actions on the websites. What it really matters is that we're now moving even beyond, getting to a top 10% percentile with GPT-4. Now we're getting even 50% better and way beyond the average human and even the top humans in some of the coding tests. For example, here, nearly 97% accuracy in the coding test for Python. So just to conclude the area, what it makes us do better is, first of all, it helps us plan and reflect and solve really any task in the world that we wouldn't even know how to start with. It will help us process and synthesize information. It will give us infinite memory that we can always tap back into. It will give us a skill to use any tool in the world and help us maximize the use of existing tools in the world, and give us unlimited creativity and power that we didn't have before. Moving on to the second area, which is about making things faster, getting more done with less. And here's an example of if you had to do a meal plan for the next week. For example, you had to get some groceries that are for your diet, you had to measure the calories using Wolfram Alpha, then book a table that adheres to your preferences on OpenTable, and then send a calendar invite to your friends to arrange the dinner. All of that is now done with ChatGPT and its plugins.
Today I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT to do some simple meal planning. First, let's head to the plugin store to install the necessary plugins. Next, let's ask ChatGPT for a restaurant recommendation on Saturday, a recipe for Sunday, the total calorie count, and to order the ingredients on Instacart. First, it's using OpenTable to find me a great restaurant for Saturday. For Sunday, it's finding me a simple recipe, and it's asking Wolfram Alpha to calculate the calories. 862, great. Now let's make the shopping list. All right, all we have to do to order the ingredients is click the link.
Super easy and quick. We talked about writing before. For example, Jasper that you saw that helps you get into writing. It also makes existing writing much better. 10 times higher quality in content output, 80% time reduced in spending the time on the first draft. There's now tools that can help you build a website in just 30 seconds that used to take people weeks or months. And also development tools like the GitHub Copilot that helps you be 55% faster in coding, all the while feeling 75% more fulfilled while doing so. So the area of becoming faster really gives us the ability to complete tasks on a rocket ship, increase our output, and at the same time feel higher satisfaction. Moving into the third area of becoming cheaper. Example here is, a mentorship session with somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk to get advice for your business. People could pay more than $2,700 for 5 minutes of time with him. Imagine if you train based on all of his podcasts and interviews and videos, a chatbot, which is just out there, the Vaynerchuk bot, where you could talk to get your business advice just for cents per hour, get all of that intelligence. Or it would be becoming an entrepreneur and building your company much cheaper, because you don't actually need to build a team of at least 5 or 6 people to follow all the functions and then go and raise venture capital for it. You can do it all by just being a one-man band. You can build a strategy using AI, you can do the operations, you can design everything, you can engineer and build it, you can market it, bring it to the market, and do sales. A sales example here is, for example, process automation with AI and activating all of those agents, going out to LinkedIn to find the prospects, then adding them to their CRM to list the customers, reaching out to them via email, then following up with a personalized video promotion demo for them. Then once they're interested, find a time in the calendar to do a demo call, join with a demo call, then get the agents to negotiate the contract on your behalf with them, and then onboard them in a personalized, automated way to your systems. So you can really see how a one-man person can really activate the whole space. And why this matters is that for the Fortune 500 companies today, payroll, the wages and salaries are about 50 to 60% of their cost base. So imagine if you can rewrite the whole economy in a completely different cost line item where you don't need to spend that 50-60% and still offer the same quality of service. And overall, it just helps us get much higher output from the human hours spent. It's going to get us less resources to get things done and reduce the cost in buying those tools and systems to get things done. So everything will be better, cheaper, and faster, but what are the implications of that for our day-to-day lives? First of all, we have to develop new skills in that space. We are going to see some social and political changes, as well as develop new industries. Let's view each one of them one by one. We as humans started as passive hunters-gatherers, going around scouring our food until we became laborers. We started organizing ourselves in the cities and finding ourselves roles and specializing in our life until we became creators, using machines, either our computers or physical machines, to get things done. So they were the extension of ourselves in the physical world. And now we're becoming narrators, which means that we are no longer building the machines are building themselves, as long as we can describe the objective, the outcome that we want to achieve out of that. So really imagine that we're all getting this intern who knows everything, but has never done anything. And of course, through that, we started seeing those new roles like AI whisperers who know exactly how to prompt the right outcome, or prompt engineers in companies to accelerate the adoption of AI tools within their companies. And obviously, those were very high-paying jobs. They're still out there. For more than $300,000, you can become a prompt engineer without knowing any zero computer code. Or even some of the jobs in Japan that actually require you to know and use ChatGPT for work on the job description. But just from the beginning of April, there's been so much development that I think that to view it as an intern who knows everything but has never done anything, we should view it as an intern who knows everything and will create anything for you. Or what Kevin Kelly calls as universal personal intern. And it's not just one dimension, they're going to be intelligent on one axis. There's going to be so many different versions of that. Some which are really good at intelligent in understanding vision, understanding sound or speech recognition, understanding coming up with new ideas and creativity and execution. And human intelligence will be just one part of that overall mix. And we're going to tap into many other intelligences to help us complete our tasks. One of the key things that Andrej Karpathy, who is also the leading AI in Tesla, as well as founder of OpenAI, he says that the hottest new programming language today is really English language. This is how we're going to get things done in the future. Humans don't want to do the jobs where productivity is important. We really want to be doing the jobs, which are inefficient. Those are the jobs which are for humans. And something like that is science, innovation, exploration, lots of experimentation and creating art. These are the areas where we can really make some breakthroughs. And this is the areas where we should be spending most of our time by learning those new skills and deploying our agents, personal agents in the world. The second area is the social and political change, that we're seeing a lot of news already, that many workers are worried that they're going to lose their jobs. Schools are forbidding the use of those technologies at schools, and there's a lot of fear out there in society. And this is not really anything new. If we go back to 1964 paper by some of the large technology leaders at the time and entrepreneurs as well as politicians, they came up with a letter that said they commend that the commission will take action against the economic dislocation based driven by automation. And that those revolutions will bring social and economic disorder on the streets.
Central theme that it is necessary to change the value standards of modern society as a result of the multiplied productivity of modern production made possible by automation linked to computers, which they call the cybernetic revolution.
The cybernetic revolution, the history is repeating itself again, and we're seeing very many similar news out there. But they were right and ahead of their time, because while productivity continued to climb and the average compensation continued to incline or grow, the median compensation remained the same. So there was this bifurcation of some people making a lot of money, but most of the people starting to make less money and not being part of the productivity growth that we saw. And we also see that in the share of GDP from salaries and compensation, which has been since the 1970s in decline, from being in the 90-95% of the GDP to now being 80-85% of the GDP. So there's a decline of people's participation in the upside of the productivity that those tools and systems have provided us. And we've seen all over again those protective mechanisms in place. If you look at the Gutenberg press, there was a protection in place from church to who can print, what can print, and what can be distributed. Or even when the automobile were introduced in the UK, there was a locomotive act that required 4 people to operate the car, one of them flagging down just to protect the jobs and protect the industries from the horse carriages. And now we see a similar thing happening with OpenAI being banned in Italy, but the regulators asking for a regulation in the UK and Europe and large. And there's a lot of merit to it. We saw the first touch point with humanity and AI with social media. It really brought us information overload and that doom scrolling. At the same time, brought us a lot of benefits of keeping us connected with more people, enabling small and medium-sized businesses to reach new customers and bringing those like-minded communities together. But there was concern that when we were mindful of that, we actually got all of the bad things as well. And now it's entangled in our society. And there's a concern that similar entanglement is going to happen now with AI. While it's going to make us more efficient and get things done faster, right, code faster and solve climate change and make a lot more money, it's also going to introduce, bias. It's going to replace jobs. It's going to be challenged by acting creepy. And there's a lot more, at the center of humane technologies. Tristan Harris has highlighted in his talk, which I highly recommend you to check it out. The reality collapse, the exponential blackmailing and spoofing and scams, as the automated lobbying and automated cyber weapons. There's all of those challenges that we as society have faced. And that all comes down to the alignment challenge, which means how AI mission and human mission and values are aligned. And there's a challenge there, which a lot of the AI researchers find is hard for us to measure and overcome.
The problem is that we do not get 50 years to try again and observe that we were wrong and come up with a different theory and realize that the entire thing is going to be way more difficult than we realized at the start. Because the first time you fail at aligning something much smarter than you are, you die.
This is really deep tech, and a lot of the AI researchers are now calling to pause a giant AI experience and slow down the development. At the same time, while the developments outside are definitely rallying on, and there's now, based on auto-GP, a chaos GP that was built, that the goal is to destroy humans. It's a simulation to get to the power and dominance from AI side and ensure that only the AI will survive. Those simulations will give us an idea of how to protect and what we should even regulate against it. Because today we really built the language model, which is based mostly on the words and the internet. We're just entering the space of pixels, where AI is starting to get vision and embodiment in the real world through the GPT-4 models. But we're still far away from the interaction side, the physical world, where we're able to actually come together with the AI and they can complete tasks in the physical space. Some argue that this is not necessary to achieve the artificial general intelligence, which is defined as this hypothetical intelligent agent which can understand or learn tasks from human beings or other animals, and can do them better than human capabilities and majority of the economically valuable work areas. So arguably language and pixels already will help you do that without having the embodiment. But really we have to run more of those experiments to know exactly if, what and how we should regulate. The last but not least is developing new industries. An experiment here from Google and Stanford where they built characters with just a very short description of what their values are in life, and they found out that the AI can itself tap into natural language, synthesize information, build memories, and organize themselves in societies. And those simulations can actually unlock completely new world-building opportunities for creators in the future.
I think the entire content, the realm of content can be rewritten through AI. The first is like individual personalized creation of content where I as a user can render content that is of my liking and my interest. The second is that I can engage with content that is being created that is so much more multidimensional than anything we conceive of today, where current centralized content creators now have a whole set of tools. Now, from a business model perspective, I don't think that publishers are really the play anymore, but I do think that platforms are going to be the play. And the platform tooling that enables the individuals to do this stuff and the platform tooling that enables the content creators to do this stuff are definitely entirely new industries and models that can create multi-$100 billion outcomes.
Here's an example of music where we thought that this is going to be far away, where you can ask for a Bohemian Rhapsody song in a composition of Mozart, but then performed by Kanye West. This is exactly what's happening on social media at the moment, where there's a song on TikTok that is performed by Drake and The Weeknd that would never happen necessarily in real life, but the creators themselves can build a personalized version of the songs or completely new songs that they like.
I came in with my ex like Celine, not a flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the fever and love.
In the kid space, there's a version now to build completely personalized characters through the drawings that you yourself create as a kid, and then they can be part of the story and your life in the future. There's a YouTube channel called 12 Hour who's building a new version of GTA 6 if you want to see the progress on his channel, and he's completely building this multi-dimensional worlds where characters have life, and he's still building the trailer, but you can imagine something that used to take hundreds of people's many years to build, like GTA 5, now it just could be one person and several months to complete the task. And we're just at the beginning, you know, the moment where the camera was using a pinhole and you could only really view something from the lens and imagine the creations through that, to a Photoshop space where you could use software that open up completely new opportunities that were unforeseen when using pinhole camera. Now we're getting to a world where there's completely undiscovered formats through AI tools that we're still experimenting and learning to do, because it's a completely new canvas and tool set for us to experiment on. And overall, by using this, we're going to rewrite most of the industries because the cost base is completely different. We're mostly going to rebuild every company in the world, and most of it can be done with just one person team to do all of that.
My basic model of the next decade is that the cost of intelligence, the marginal cost of intelligence and the marginal cost of energy are going to trend rapidly towards zero, like surprisingly far. And those, I think, are two of the major inputs into the cost of everything else, except the cost of things we want to be expensive, the status goods.
The cost of energy and the cost of intelligence are rapidly going to zero. That's impacting our economy. But the things that we want to be valuable, like the status goods, they will remain valuable. So things like classic cars and even vinyl, we want those brands to be around us that define us. It was recently, just this year, that the sales of vinyl overtook the sales of CDs. It's still a fraction of the overall track records sales, but it's important to see how those those goods for some reason are still very important and valuable for us. Or take the richest person in the world now. It's not any of the tech CEOs. It's Bernard Arnault, who has a personal wealth of $242 billion, running some of the largest French companies. Their top French companies are all luxury fashion goods. So this shows that there's not just everything is going to be automated, but there's definitely some goods that we always want to be exclusive and different.
I think it's fascinating to me how these the predictions of AI and what it's going to look like and what it's going to be capable of are completely inverted and wrong. And sci-fi of 50s and 60s was just like totally not right. They imagined AI as like super calculating theorem provers, and we're getting things that can talk to you about emotions. Yeah. They can do art. It's just like weird.
It's important to keep yourself up to date and embrace those tools, to be the one who's using the 90% of the capabilities rather than just be limited to the 10% capabilities as most people are today. For that, I built a tool called ReReview.AI, where you can see it and reveal the most relevant AI tools. And it's not just another list of tools that you'll see out there on Twitter and on the other websites. I've actually used data-driven approach as well as GPT-4 to build those recommendations, summarize the tools, categorize them into tasks, and then understand which ones are the most popular ones. So you can go in and say, hey, which are the new tools that didn't have visitors last month that now have higher than 5 minutes people spending time on that site. So those are really valuable tools that maybe you didn't know that existed before. Or you can approach it by a specific task and go in and say, I want to know in photo editing, what are the most popular tools that people should use? And then once you go in, you can see more details about how they've been growing, when they've been established. Is that a real team or is that just a weekend hack that's behind it? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You're going to find all the links down below. And if you want to see how AI actually got started, how did we get here and how are the models built, check out this video.